Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. Salute to each and everyone who support the channel, man. Appreciate you pulling up as always. I'm the belt is in the building. Retros for life, 79 boxing in the building on deck. Appreciate you. Hey, this is going to be a short one. I just want to speak on the UFC 265 card that went down yesterday. You know, this is absolutely outside the scope of YouTube when it's supposed to be about expertise and attention to detail and professionalism. Like, we're human and we're gonna make mistakes and all that. You know, we're gonna have misinformation sometime because it's a lot to catalog, and then you have to use your recall memory to come up here and talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So it can get a little shaky, especially if you in your 50s, shouty. You know what I'm saying? If you in your 50s. So I'm trying to figure out if I should give Max Kellerman a pass, because truly he don't understand, or he's not doing enough research on mixed martial arts. I know him and Stephen A have been given an invitation to cover the UFC periodically, not on a regular basis. Thank Holy Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. I hope that never happens. But I'm factoring in the workload that they may have. The workload in a sense that he may get the invitation to go over there and talk about MMA on the UFC platform under that promotion. But they may limit him to the broadcast or the commentary of what he can say, because they should know by now him and Stephen A. Smith are having quite an issue with knowing what they're speaking on. It's not like speaking on boxing. You know, boxing, you can talk about the movement and the hand and the handwork, you know what I'm saying, that they're putting in. The hands considering the left and right, that's all they're using. But with mixed martial arts, it's just so much more of a collective discipline. Max Kellerman took to Twitter. All right. Max Kellerman took to Twitter. And, you know, that's why I'm saying I have to try to see if I'm going to give him a pass or not. Because he took to Twitter and he put up this tweet. And I'm just going to break it down as far as, you know, what was he thinking? You know, did he have a workload? Did he have a workload that was too much for him? Do he have the early signs of COVID? Did he take a spill and his head landed on his suitcase or something before he was supposed to go in there? But he put this up, right? Let me hide this right quick so y'all can see. It's Max Kellerman put this tweet out. It says, undoubtedly a top heavyweight. Now, let me first set the picture. You know what I'm saying? Let me set this up right quick. He's talking about the main event between Derek the Beast Lewis and France MMA star Cyril Gane, who is now the interim heavyweight champion of the world. He said undoubtedly a top heavyweight, but he's coming off a KO loss. All right. So the only one that's coming off a KO loss would be Stipe Miocic, because he stepped in there with Francis Ngannou, and that's why Ngannou is champion right now. He said while Ngannou has taken less than 6 rounds to beat his last 5 opponents. I mean, that's correct. I get it. Then he goes on to say, including Stipe and John Jones. Now, if you're going to speak on the championship level of a champion, and you have people tuned in because you're Max Kellerman, you cannot make mistakes like including John Jones in the umbrella of defeat when it comes down to this, because we all know Stipe has lost recent, the Francis Ngannou, and, several fights back against Daniel Cormier in the first round. So we know that. But to include John Jones' name in there, that truly represents that you're not studying up enough, or your workload is in the red. You might be exhausted. I'm not sure, but no one has never defeated John Jones in the cage. No one. And to think that you're putting John Jones up there, who has one blemish on his record from a DQ with Matt Hamill, and that is simply because the Ultimate Fighting Championship has experienced changes throughout the years, and one of those changes were. Hold on for a second. Okay, so the UFC go through many changes when it comes to what's allowed and disallowed. So they had a part of the commission that I went over this previously. They had a man that was a part of the commission, and he went to an ice breaking contest and seen them breaking ice with their elbows. And in martial arts, ice breaking competition, you have to be standing in front of the unit of ice and execute a downward strike onto the ice. That downward strike is 12 to 6, 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock, straight down as if you're looking at a clock, right? So once he's seen that, he came back and he changed, he wanted to push to change the rule. And many people, including John McCarthy, pretty much advocated that it wouldn't make a difference. It makes no sense for you to go through this and try to change, because it's a lot more strikes that's brutal. So I'm guessing this guy was petrified by seeing a 12 to 6 elbow break slabs of ice. So it's still banned to this day. And John Jones, in the process of bludgeoning Matt Hamill with death by 1,000 elbows, he slipped up and hit him with a 12 to 6 elbow. Now, Matt was going to lose the fight anyway. You know what I'm saying? Matt Hamill was going to lose the fight. He understands he was going to lose the fight. He was trying to hang in there, but he was getting blasted. And once again, Steve Mazzagatti, stood him up, and John Jones thought it was a stoppage. and they ruled the fight in favor of Matt Hamill for illegal 12-6 elbow. That's the only blemish John Jones has on his record. And he was disappointed in that loss because he was clearly winning the striking game. He was beating Matt Hamill down. It was only a matter of time before the fight would stop. But due to the commission's rule and the referee that is no longer in the UFC, not because of that, but just in general, some bad calls. John Jones has that only blemish. For Max Kellerman to sit up here and even provide the MMA audience the insinuation that John Jones had been defeated by Francis Ngannou. I don't know. I might be freaking wrong, but I'm telling myself, like, you need to do better with putting information out here, especially on your Twitter, especially IG. And also when the cameras are rolling, you definitely need to understand that there is certain templates that you can go off of when you're reporting on a sport. All right. You might have a template for combat sports, boxing rather, and you might have a template to jumpstart you speaking about, football, basketball, baseball, whatever the case may be. But one thing you cannot front truly, unless you totally understand what you're watching, is mixed martial arts. If that's going to be a collective platform that you venture into every now and then. But it's just crazy to think that you, Max Kellerman, as long as you've been on the air, you would put this in there, unless I'm totally missing the target on this. And my comprehension, I'm like, when did John Jones lose to anybody? He may be thinking of another fighter and mentioned John Jones. I have no idea. And then the way he ended it and gone, if he wins, it's just unclear, man. You know what I'm saying? It kind of gives you a securities type, tweet that he sent out. It's so winding and twisting and turning. You got to really, determine and decipher the riddle that's in this shit. I don't know, but when it comes to the heavyweight division, Ngannou has lost to Stipe, and Stipe has lost to Ngannou. All right, but John Jones has never stepped in with Ngannou. Ngannou was never at light heavyweight like that. And John Jones has not returned to the sport to compete in the heavyweight division as of yet. So until that fight happens, John Jones stepping into the arena to lock the cage with Ngannou, and he loses, he is unbeaten. He is unbeaten. No man has never defeated John Jones inside the cage. None. So this is very misleading, and Max Kellerman needs to do better. You know what I'm saying? I'm just putting it out there. He definitely needs to do better. Like I say, with some of the YouTube channels on here that speak on mixed martial arts, they don't want to kind of collaborate and have you on the panel speaking about mixed martial arts if they're unsure as of what they're talking about with MMA. But even on YouTube, certain individuals need to do better if they have a large platform. Because I'm always watching, especially when it comes to mixed martial arts, to see can I learn something from, another platform that might be out there. And some of them, just like Max, they'll talk and try to report on mixed martial arts as if it's boxing. You can't do that. You definitely have to know what you're looking at. Shout out to Bobby Green. He went in there against Shaquille. And that was, in my opinion, the best fight of the night. Bobby Green has had his up and down in his career, man, and he's pretty much stuck to it. He had a rough childhood and so forth, but as a mixed martial artist, man, he continued to improve. Early on in his career, he used to do a lot of talking during his matches, and he'd get outworked. But if there's a mixed martial artist that can showboat the right way and has pretty decent speed and wanted to do an exhibition bout, Bobby Green would be nice for boxing. I mean, look, if you recorded that, those of you that looked at the prelims, that was one of the fight of the nights. It was awesome. I mean, it was a stand-up striking game, kicks here and there, great defense, sharp time management with defense with Bobby Green. He was pretty much blocking the kicks sometime and countering with a punch behind it. He just wasn't blocking, creating, and then, reset and try to think about what he was doing. When he committed to a counter shot, he landed it. I mean, this man's hands was down by his waist, and he was popping the jab out there, and Shakiv's head was just freaking popping back. Now, don't get it, Shakiv, he was basically landing some shots too, especially in the first and the midway through the second round. But Green came on very, very hard in the third round. They ended up giving it to Shakiv, but one judge scored it 30-27, and there's no way that Bobby Green lost that third round. But one judge gave 30-27. I'm like, what? What is that again? UFC is not one of those organizations that's how you put it, that has an exemption waiver when it comes to bad judging. They've been known to have bad judging too, but I'm just saying, and that's particular fight right there, them giving them Shakiv the entire 3 rounds, that wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? Just like they sit up here and did that for Maestre and Fox last night. It was bad. So I'm up here, surfing around on YouTube, and I'm seeing how so many people are talking about boxing corrupt. Yes, it's corrupt, but are y'all willing to take 3 days off? 4 days off? Are y'all willing to take 4 days off and not report on boxing? To prove a point, put your thumbnail up in protest of what you feel is wrong with boxing, and don't report on boxing for 3 days. You share that, you put it up for 3 days as if you're going to have a live stream on the third day or whatever the case may be. So people can see your thumbnail in protest of boxing, and you make a creative thumbnail as to why you're protesting the sport. I don't know if there's a large amount of individuals that's willing to commit to that, because I think some they have to. I'm just being honest. I think some they feel they have to keep going, and they're going to be millionaires, thousandaires off this YouTube, and they'll never shut down for 3 days, because some people make a living off YouTube. I get it. However you can get it, whatever. But I'm just saying, in order for us to prove a point here in the YTC, it should be a blackout. It should be a protest about boxing, because boxing continues to disrupt our comfort zone and pretty much manipulate our respect that we should have for the sport. Now, not so much the boxers. The boxers, they have to deal with this on a whole nother level. They have to deal with it in a sense where they're paid, first of all, how much they're getting paid. You know what I'm saying? They have to go through the training regime, of course, and they have to split the ropes and take the punishment. And everything else outside the ring that they have to deal with, I'm pretty sure it gets a lot more darker than what I'm talking about. But, it would be great if some of the larger platforms on YTC, if you can't do it for 3 days, do it for 2 days. If you feel you're going to lose too much money and you're not going to get super chats and all that, do it for 48 hours. Put a thumbnail up, and these thumbnails are going to basically be filtered around, and they're going to know that the YTC is protesting the sport of boxing. But this where I'll say it's never a YouTube boxing community. It's no such thing as a YTBC, because if it was a YTBC, they would have already came up with this protest, because we know boxing continue to stab us in the back. So, protesting on YouTube would be great. A real protest is not getting on here, period, for 2 days. You put the thumbnail up and you leave it alone for 48 hours, 72 hours, however long that you can protest. People will see your thumbnails. Your audience will go to your channel because they're used to seeing you come on every day. And they're going to look and see, okay, you're protesting boxing. For whatever the message your thumbnail is sending, they'll read that and say, oh, man. But they're going to miss you, though. You know what I'm saying? The larger platforms, they're going to miss you, especially those who come on a regular basis each day. They're going to miss you. But your message is going to be filtered through down to them and say, dang, you know, so-and-so is willing to protest boxing, the corruptness in it, the lies, the fact that the best isn't fighting the best. It's just an alternative way to attempt to clean up the sport, because YouTube doesn't make fights. YouTube isn't matchmakers. You know, YouTube has somewhat of a small, minute influence on boxing. That means those who compete in the sport, if they get if they're able to find or locate a video you did on them, you know, they can look at the video, and sometimes they reach out, you know, and they can reach out, and you know, the connection is there from YouTube to a professional fighter. You have interviews, you know, you have all that that's going on. That's how YouTube has productive interaction with the professional boxing in a positive way. But then you have a sense where a fighter may reach out off something you said or put out here on YouTube, and then they get mad about it. Whatever. It's going to happen. But if there's a YTBC in existence, you know, all of us can get together and protest, you know, boxing. But more so, there's just 100 videos out here talking about how corrupt boxing is. We know that already. We absolutely know. And you know, I said the only way it's going to change is not to make live streams on the corruption of boxing. People already know. They just going to tune in and hear you talk about it. Hoover back on deck. What's good, my brother? Max needs to stick to boxing, and Screaming A. Smith needs to stick to basketball. Yeah, man. You know, that's almost like saying shut up and dribble. But you know, Stephen A. has his fault in MMA too. You know what I'm saying? He has had his moment where he just, you know, made himself look like a fool in a sense. So yeah, I agree with that. Both are overpaid to be saying silly shit like that. I guess, you know, the powers that's over them, their authority, their managers, supervisors, I think they look at them as saying, you know, I guess they look at them and say, you know what, they have an entire workload of criteria that they need to research and study and retain. Also attached to that is producer notes that they have to create and make producer notes on the topics that they're going to discuss once the cameras are rolling. And I understand that. But in mixed martial arts, it's difficult to have producer notes because the sport has so many variables to understanding what you're looking at and being able to look at it, assess it, and regurgitate what you're talking about. It's really important. And when you're coming from sports, let's be honest, when you're talking about basketball, there's a certain way you can report on basketball that's not that difficult. It's not as difficult in looking at it, processing and understanding what is going on, who's running what play, what that player is doing. Baseball, of course, very simple. Football, same thing. You know, you don't hear the commentators on football telling the plays if they was a former football player. They're just basically telling you what exactly is going on and happening as you're looking at it in real time. So we can still look at this in the same manner of mixed martial arts. If you can talk about it and know what you're talking about in real time in such a complex sport, then you're good. The only way that's going to happen is that you visit the schools and understand what you're looking at. Not when the fight is so-called on the feet, because there are areas on the feet that you still have to know and decipher. But more so when a fighter changes level, go for the takedown, everything that happens while they're on the ground, the transitions, the dominant positions, you know, whether the fighter's on top position or bottom position, what is the fighter on the bottom trying to do at the moment? You know, their transition. Do they have overhooks, underhooks? You know, wrist control. You know, what's going on with their knees, their feet. It's just so many areas to sit up here and say, you know, what is going on? What is playing out in front of me? And I think Max Kellerman, his comment was simple. Max Kellerman assessed the wins of a fighter. Like, that's easy. All you have to do is go look it up, just like BoxRec. You go look it up. You say, oh, so-and-so this. Only thing he had to do is look up Francis Ngannou and see who he's fought. If his main subject was going to be Francis Ngannou last 5 fights has been less than 6 rounds, then he should have scanned below it and say, okay, if his last 5 fights was less than 6 rounds, then guess what? Who did he defeat in his last 5 fights if there was less than 6 rounds? Some naive mixed martial arts fan, they look at his and say, Ngannou has taken less than 6 rounds to beat his last 5 opponents. And you include Stipe and John Jones, you know, the casual fan is going to go look it up. Shit, Ngannou beat John Jones? When? Did I miss that shit? Did it happen during the pandemic? When did they fight? They might get on here, you know what, people? I just found out today that, you know, that heavyweight fight that happened in UFC 265 with Cyril Gane winning the interim heavyweight title. I found that Ngannou, he might possibly be facing Ngannou. Ngannou beat John Jones back in the day. I haven't looked it up though, but yeah, I saw Max Kellerman tweet that shit, and if he tweeted, it have to be correct. See, that's the bad thing about it. That's untrue. Ngannou never defeated John Jones. I have no idea what he's talking about. Like, this has nothing to do with deciphering movement and executed striking disciplines that's going on in an active fight. Has nothing to do with it. This is just simple shit that Max is just, you know, not paying attention to basically encompass John Jones on the losing bracket of Ngannou when he hasn't even fought at heavyweight yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, it's a lot of words I can use for that. You know what I'm saying? Max Kellerman, you have a platform big enough to influence a lot of people. You just need to pay close attention to what's going on when you're putting out a tweet, because people do tune in to what you have to say. I'm not saying he don't know shit about what he's talking about, but when it comes to mixed martial arts, him and Stephen A. Smith, they're trying to bleed them over into that spectrum where you already have previous fighters like Michael Bisping, Dominique Cruz, Daniel Cormier, Joe Rogan. You know, you have regular voices that you listen to over there at the UFC. Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman isn't one of them. Chael Sonnen, very good commentator, former mixed martial artist, very good commentator, can talk. He's a mouthpiece that knows what he's talking about. What's going on, Jay? Big dog in the building. What's good? Hoover say WBA president's wife is a racist bitch. I mean, I haven't even read, but explain yourself, man. Elaborate on that, Hoover. Both are paid to be saying silly shit. Elaborate on that, man. What she say? What she do? Max sucks at covering MMA and Stephen A. sucks at covering boxing. ESPN doing more BS. Man, hey, somehow, some way, I don't know how to explain it, because I would think they had producer notes enough to study up. They said, hey, Max, you're going to be covering UFC 265 at this point right here. I just want to let you know. Just read over this, process it, and da-da-da. You know what I'm saying? So primarily, he spoke about the main event. Because I doubt he pretty much know who was on the prelims enough to speak on them like that. Seriously, I don't know if Max is familiar with who's on the prelims. Since when did the UFC have 6-round bouts? No, what he's talking about, Jade, he's talking about collectively in his last 5 fights, they have ended in the first round or so. And if you calculate the time that is spent in the cage for him to finish that fight, if you total them up, it's less than 6 rounds. What he means by that, 5 minutes per round, 6 rounds would be a total of 30 minutes if they was to play out in its entirety. So he's saying less than 6 rounds as far as the time on the clock per the fights that he's finished. So he's saying his last 5 opponents, 3 rounds per fight. If you take 3 rounds per fight, all right, and you times that times 5 opponents, which is 5 fights, that's a total of 15 rounds, right? So you take 5 minutes per round. He's basically saying he knocked them out in 1 round. I mean, less than 1 round. And you take the cumulative time, of that round where he spent time in the ring and knocked this opponent out, it's under the total time of 6 rounds. You know what I'm saying? 6 rounds is a total of 30 minutes. If you're talking about championship rounds. Championship fights or interim championship fights or whatever the case may be, is 5 5-minute rounds. Regular fights are 3 rounds, 5 minutes apiece. Max trying to be Brett Okamoto. T.O. Duck and Crawford. T.O. Duck and Crawford about to leave. Let me see. Hold on for a second, y'all. Hold on for a second. All right. T.O. Duck and Crawford about to leave. Fury, a crackhead, top rank. ESPN got nobody in boxing to cover. They're gonna have to build back up or change over the I can't say cut the head off because the head of that snake right there has been in the game a long time. So they have to basically approve the changing of the guard. You know what I'm saying? Bob Arum needs to step down and allow someone else to run his promotion. That I think that would be justice. The judge from Fox Fight, Gloria Martinez, is WBA exec wife. Oh, shit. So if that is the case there, J8, why is her name different than his? I could have sworn his last name was Mendoza. I could have sworn the WBA president's name was Mendoza. Last name was Mendoza. I don't know if somebody can look that up, but I could have sworn his last name was Mendoza. So if that's the WBA exec. So did I not read it correctly when you said the WBA president? Let me see if you said, or whoever put that comment, as far as the WBA president wife is a racist. Yeah, Hoover said the WBA president's wife is a racist. The judge from Fox Fight Martinez, the WBA exec, she got tweets calling Michelle Obama a monkey. So the executive wife is different than the president's wife. The president of the WBA last name is Mendoza. Her name is Martinez, obviously. So it would be the WBA exec's wife. I get it. I get it, bro. I get it. Now, yeah, calling a black person a monkey in general, absolutely. That's racist. And anybody outside of black referring to somebody as that, of course, imagine how she's treating black fighters. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? She's a judge. So I have to do more research on that. I didn't know that, but I definitely have to do more research on it. You know what I'm saying? Because if she called Michelle Obama that, well, how does she feel about black fighters she have to judge? They don't boxes already. Oh, okay. Didn't understand what he was saying. In fact, she had a ton of racist tweets out there, but they are scrubbing them. Damn, she out there just kicking racist comments, but yet they're not reprimanding her to step down as a judge. Then how do we not know her influence isn't affecting black or minority fighters while they're competing? That's my situation. Like, these judges are not only calling the fights incorrectly. Now, if you have one that's feeling some type of way about certain ethnicities of fighters, then they should be reprimanded and should be forced to step down, period, from even judging the sport. It's a dude named Rizzo. His last name is Martinez Rizzo. You talking about the exec? Ricardo Rizzo is executive name. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. Good to know. I didn't know that. I didn't know about the executive. Right. What the fuck is all Al doing? She should marry Don Sterling. Man, we ain't gonna get on that, man. That's a whole other situation right there. He was so racist, he had to get him one. You know what I'm saying? Look, the worst thing a man in Don Sterling's position is be old and insecure. You know what I'm saying? That's a lack of maturity. That is narcissism right there. Because in him, he's basically saying, you know what? I have so much money that if I allow you into my space to be with me and experience what I'm experiencing, you shouldn't be out here, having other relations with men, especially black men. That's always been an insecurity, especially when you have some white dudes who are dating a sister, but they worrying about them sisters still sleeping with a black man. That's just what I know in life. I've been living long enough. I said some. But it might have been the WBA that did that with the judges. Al probably had no say over all the details. What we know about boxing in general, y'all know that shit is pretty much contaminated. It has no integrity to the sport. You know what I'm saying? It lacks structure. It has a format, though. Boxing has a format, but that means nothing when you are using that format and you do everything right by that format, but the standard operating procedures are always manipulated by individuals who are sitting ringside looking at fighters, and they have had a meeting before then to come up with a predetermined result of the fight. Now, in certain cases, there are fighters who know about the predetermined results because they're the B side. They'll be like, hey, you're not here to win this fight. Just like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. He knew walking in there with Canelo Alvarez, he wasn't winning that fight. He knew why? Because the Gennady Golovkin fight was signed already. He know he wasn't winning that fight. That's why he was a punching bag for 12 rounds. That's why Abney Yildirim went in there and just earned his paycheck. Hey, it's time for you to, don't stay in there too long. Just go in that third round. It's time for you to go take it to the showers, all right? We want to preserve Canelo Alvarez because he has a fight coming up, all right? He got to finish you. He already has a fight signed with Billy Joe Saunders, so you need to get your ass up out of there. Don't play around now. All right, I got it. It's a check. Hey, team, is a check in there yet? Certified fund? They certified. Okay, cool. Sometimes fighters know what the results are because they're going in there to lose, period. But when it comes to the judges, when they know how the fight is going to play out, regardless if it goes to the judges, and just like Fox arguably won that fight, right? Against Maestre. And you're talking about the dude that's 3-0 defeating the dude 22-2 that actually put in the work, actually performed. You know what I'm saying? That's a problem with me right there. That's where blatant corruption comes in. Like the fighter look at it like, what? And they can't say too much because they don't want to face backlash from whoever it may be. They don't want to face backlash, especially if they're trying to get fights. They're trying to get the call up and get a paycheck. They're not going to say too much. But I thought Michael Fox did enough to defeat Gabriel Maestre. And, to include the knockdown, I thought he did enough to get the fight. I mean, get the nod. But yet they screwed him over for a 3-0 fighter. You know what I'm saying? A 3-0 fighter that's a 2-time Olympian that they're trying to raise up to be special. It's fucked up, dog. I see they doing the Peyton Manning tour on ESPN. Talking to some players that played with played in the sport. Because Peyton Manning was doing commentary for football, NFL too. So they inducted him into the National Football League Hall of Fame. And they just going around doing a tour with some of the other elite football players that's in the league. It's pretty cool, though. It's pretty cool. Jade said Fox won every round. Boxing might really need Dana White. King Mitch, not all are racist. He said, Tio, I didn't say all. I don't understand how any Latino can be racist towards blacks. It's extremely prevalent these days, though. I agree with Latinos being racist towards black. I experienced it myself. You know what I'm saying? I experienced it at times myself, especially in certain groups. Within Latinos, you have to treat that as a ball of yarn, though, because it's so much confusion as to the Mexicans on where they was born and how, were they actually born in Mexico or whatever the case. Just goes for Dominican, Puerto Rican, Mexican. Where were you born? Were you born over here in the U.S. or you born over there? And I've seen them fight one another, fist fights. I seen them talking about, oh man, you can't rep the Mexican colors. You ain't Mexican. Your parents are Mexican. You was born over here in the United States. How crazy is that, right? You know what I'm saying? But look, as I speak on them, I said the same thing about what I experienced with Haitians and Africans. They told me I was a black American. I agreed. I say I am. I got some other shit. I'm black though, but there's some other shit that went on in my DNA, my genealogy. You know what I'm saying? It's something went on. It's some interaction between some different races. Brother got freckles and shit. You know what I'm saying? It's something went on. I agree. But to hear somebody that say, "Oh, you're not African," why do you Americans always talk about you African? You're not African. I'm African. I was born over in Africa. My parents, relocated over here, fled the country to come over here for a better life. They came over on a boat, especially the Haitians. Oh my God, the Haitians, they act like some people owe them something. Not all of them. I'm just saying. They act like you owe them. They came over here. They'll talk about their journey and everything. I could say not a word. And then time you open your mouth, say, well, it's hard over here in the US too. You know what I'm saying? It was racism over here too. But to see you and the shade of your skin criticizing me where I was born from where you was born is just absurd, disrespectful, and it's pointless to even have a conversation about it. Because just because your hair is nappier than mine doesn't exclude the fact that you're black and I'm black. So when it comes to the Mexicans, it's all about where they was born. Latinos, it's all about where they was born. That's all. But, racism from them to blacks does exist. It does. It does, man. JA said they don't even know themselves. When you look at the perpetrators in boxing, they are damn near all Latinos. Now, Jay, I'm glad. Look, I'm glad you mentioned that. Let me bring something to the surface, right, about this boxing game, and why you can't be as mad at Latinos being in boxing, and all the notoriety they get in the sport. This is why. If you go to the amateur ranks and see these guys compete, it's a lot of Hispanic and Latino judges, referees, and boxers on the amateur level, people. It's more than blacks. It's more than whites. You have a lot of Latino Mexican fighters on the amateur level. So when they hit the floodgates and turn professional, that's why you see a lot of Mexican Latino fighters in the sport. You see a lot of them. It's bound to be a Canelo somewhere. We just don't know when they're going to be able to rise through the ranks. It's bound to be a Floyd. You know what I'm saying? It's bound to be a Roy Jones. It's bound to be a James Toney. Chavez Sr., Roberto Duran. It's bound to be some individuals that stand out. But when you look at the amateur ranks, it's a lot of Latino fighters on that ground level. A lot of them. I've seen them. A lot. It's not a lot of black fighters. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it's not as many black fighters on that level of amateur ranks competing than you would think. But when you're talking about the percentage is much larger when you're talking about Hispanic, Latino, Mexican, however you want to call it. It's more them contending down there and coming into the professional ranks. So until more blacks or more white fighters come into the sport, Latino is going to dominate the how you put it. Latinos is going to dominate the percentage within the sport. Easy. According to what they got going on in life, why they're competing in the sport of boxing. There's a lot of Latino referees and judges on the amateur. Man, they be robbing them cats, man. Man, I'm telling the amateur ranks, man, that's all I'm gonna say. The amateur, these kids put in all that work and go get robbed. It's wild, bro. I would never recommend a fighter to have a long amateur career, because if they stay down there too long, they're gonna get discouraged and not want to turn professional. when you look at, okay, I stayed in South Florida, and most of them Colombians and Argentinians were racist. Now you're talking about Colombians and Argentinians. Now that's a whole different thing. You know, they come over here, and yeah, they have their sense of thinking when they come over here. But let's put all this to bed when it comes down to it. Whether you want to consider yourself an African American or Black American, we are the only race that another race will basically discriminate or exude prejudice in a racist manner toward us without even knowing our name. Our skin color alone is our tag for that. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be like that. They will go off the way you look, and you don't even have to open your mouth in some cases. If it's more than one, then they just make an assessment on whether they consider you to be innocuous or deleterious. That's how they look at it. You either harmless or harmful. That's how they see it. Sometimes, you know, you can be in a group and all y'all can be, you know, coming back from shooting hoop at the gym, and y'all like 6'3", 6'6". And you walking down the street and they say, damn, them motherfuckers big, man. Let me cross the street. Oh, it's too much traffic. Oh, shit. Them motherfuckers walk close to the edge, close to the street, you know, make a big deal in the scene as if they about to get robbed. Now, certain areas in life, you know how it is, but that's true. Black is the only race that you have another race identify you and make a decision to whether they want to discriminate or exude prejudice towards you, you know, of what they see, period. You know, being 6'2", 6'3", you know, people can sit up here and look at you and make the wrong assumption, you know, perception of who you are without you even saying a word. So I'm like, okay, if you don't have the respect to just, you know, find out a little bit about a brother, then I'm not going to help you out. But then it can lead to them not ever having a conversation with you. And then doing that entire time, you never spoken, but they sitting up here feeling some type of way, a negative way about you. And you're not even that. And then finally, you know, 8 months pass by, they finally have a conversation. Oh, you know what? All this time I thought you was an asshole. You know what I'm saying? All that time I thought you was an asshole. Seriously. James gave one of the most gangster Hall of Fame speeches about being a proud Black man. Yeah, I seen that. You talking about? Yeah, I seen that. I seen that. And you know, what he was talking about is simply how they you know, profile who they believe him. You know what, you know, back then a lot of things wasn't in place or accepted. People were still sensitive about seeing certain things on a Black man, such as braids. You know, they kind of shut that down in the NBA with AI coming in there with jerseys and baggy jeans on and braids and stuff. And then other basketball players say, oh, they look cool. Let me get my hair braided. Let me grow my shit out. With him, you know, he had the locks and everything. If I'm talking about the right person. Hold on for a second. Let me, if I'm talking about the right person. Yeah, that was him. He talking about he came in with gold teeth and now he leaving with a gold jacket. Yeah, they try to tell him to, you know, cut his hair or something, you know, get within standards. And, you know, like what? Get in the standards. When you might have white players up there with ponytail, long ass hair, and stuff like that. But that's once again, that's another way on how to put this stigma on a black person and say we're aggressive. Because if you complain about something that we used to in society on a daily basis, we used to wearing our hair a certain way. Now I'm talking about something that's not considered idiosyncratic, eccentric. You know what I'm saying? So you take something that's like James and it still looks presentable, but it's somebody up there that's saying, hey, man, you got to take those out your hair and just comb it out. To me, that's discrimination. That's prejudice, period. That's just me. Now, if you're talking about on a whole nother different level of dreadlocks, well, good luck with that. Because we're talking about some of those individuals have been growing their hair for years and years and years. So, even in boxing, you have some guys with locks. Now, of course, hair holds weight. So I always said to myself, if you're in a sport where you need mobility, it's a part of the game and you have a lot of hair on your head, I don't know, you must have a strong neck over time because it just seems like it'll weigh you down, especially in boxing. It's maybe about 8 or 9 fighters in boxing that has long hair they put in a ponytail, and it's a lot. But they refuse to cut it because it might be their religion, it might be something else. But anyway, I understand where James was coming from, what he went through back then. The same thing Chad Johnson pretty much probably went through. We have gold teeth in our mouth. And for black people, that's somewhat normal, to have one or many gold teeth in your mouth. But when they see it, that's not natural. Take them out. What does that have to do with football, though? It has nothing to do with football. I'm going to have a helmet on. But still, we got to look a certain way in the sport. You got to be professional. But me going out on the field and throwing down so many points and being a team player isn't enough. I got to dress a certain way and I got to look a certain way. That's pretty much what happened in the NBA. So you tell me, it's pretty much what happened in the military. We have to dress and groom ourselves a certain way under the what they call in the military is military standards, the uniform code of military justice. You must follow these guidelines here, 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 and here. If you don't, you can be reprimanded or given negative paperwork to go in your book. Y'all get the deal. Yup. Iverson said he took that ass whooping for everyone in the league. He did, man. He did. AI was one of the pioneers. I'm telling you, back then, AI did what he wanted to do. That's why he suffered. I wouldn't say suffered. That's why he was on the receiving end of reprimand and repercussions in the NBA. Because when he was doing it, he was a star. Everybody knew who he was. And he influenced other star basketball players to do the exact same thing. Get the braids, get the baggy jeans, come in that motherfucker looking like you. Hey, man, when we get dressed, we head straight to the club. You know what I'm saying? But now you got to be on that motherfucker looking like you headed to church, a board meeting, a corporate motherfucking housewarming. You know what I'm saying? You have to be dressed to impress, man. Your shit has to be formal. That's real. Money Brown TV in the building, man. What's good there, Money? Y'all definitely need to go check out Money Brown TV, man, if you haven't already did so. Sub him out, man. Shares content. Support the brother. You know what I'm saying? Money Brown TV is in the building on deck. They tried to tell them players to show up in a 3-piece suit to a basketball game. Hey, they didn't try. Oh, they didn't. They didn't. When you're talking about, they tried to tell them players to show up in a 3-piece suit. At first, they was showing up in suits, man. Now it just has to be something formal and presentable. And then they took away all the jewelry these professional players was wearing to the game. We're only talking about the players who wasn't there to play in that particular game. You know what I'm saying? That's all that was right there. What's been good with your money? What you been up to, bro? How was church today? You go to church today and ask them to basically get boxing to turn itself around to the straight and narrow? Because I've asked you, Money Brown. I've asked Money. I say, Money, protest. I didn't say protest boxing. I said protest Charlo, though. But I was telling them earlier we should protest boxing for the corruptness at least 72 hours. David Stern was like that little fat villain from Space Jam movie. Man, that dude was what you call an insecure, affluent. I mean, with all that money, he was still insecure. When he had, look, he didn't too much like black people, but he had his black chick, Bob. He went in there and filled a quota and had a black chick by his side, or mixed or whatever, that was willing to put up with his shit for the money. That's game. She was ready to get in there and run game. That's what it was, man. AI revolutionized the game, and they didn't like it. He did, man. Not only was he dressing the way he did, but AI was balling. AI is when it comes to all around. AI is one of my top 3 basketball players that I like to watch. Seriously. AI, I seen him in person, man. I used to see him ball in person over in Landover, Maryland when he was at Georgetown. I seen him ball in person when he was at Georgetown. I used to see him at the mall. All them cats that was on Georgetown team, I used to see them at the mall at the time. That was the good days. Them was the good old days, man. I ain't gonna lie, them was the good days. I don't want to say the good old days because I'm sounding like a 50 plus. You know what I'm saying? Greetings, brothers. Gregory X in the building. Salute to you, my brothers. How you feel? Appreciate you pulling up. They ended up changing the dress code when Silva got in. They had to. They had to change the dress code when Silva got in there because he looked like he was from a different planet. Come on now. Tell me I'm lying, Jay. Silva don't look like he's from Pluto. That dude got that long ass neck and long hair like he's straight fresh off the UFO, dog. Straight out of Area 51, whatever it's called. I'm telling you, man, dudes just don't look like. That's a plant, dog. That is a plant. I'm calling it. That's a plant. They put him in there to change it up, and he did. They had to have some unique, odd-looking dude come in there and change stuff up. And that was him. Fresh off the UFO, dog. I remember that, bro. We definitely got to do something. The corruption is crazy. Yeah, man. I just think, if the YouTube community can get together and protest, and put a thumbnail up, wherever you want to send a message out and protest boxing, it would be great. But not everybody's down. That's why I say there's no such thing as the YTBC, because if it was, there would be some type of unity for us to come together cohesively and try to put this message out there to boxing. Stop screwing these fighters over. Be fair, have some integrity. We're not talking about morals and principles, because boxers, they come from all walks of life. So we can't sit up here and say it's all about religion, morals, and principles, but have some freaking integrity to the sport. Stop screwing over the fighters and stop disappointing your fans. Stop disappointing us, man. Stop contaminating the sport with fake announcements. We're tired of that puppetizing media that you do. Stop putting out fake announcements. Stop having fighters saying, hey, put this out. So-and-so's are in talk. Jojo Diaz is in talk with Devin Haney. Jojo Diaz is in talk with Ryan Garcia. In talks mean absolutely nothing. Absolutely no weight to it. In talks is just to bring attention. Hey, so-and-so's in talk. And then when you hear boxers, right? You hear boxers say this. Fight news coming soon. Fight news coming soon. Why you don't already know? Why don't they have permission to put the shit out there? Fight news coming out soon. And then most of the time, a news outlet will get the damn notification that these particular individuals on the fight card are fighting. So only when the mainstream media, the larger outlets, get the green light, they put it out there, and then the fighter come out, oh, boom, let me put this picture out there. Let me put this flyer out there. That's what that is. The fighters aren't making their own flyers, so they have to wait till the promotion clears it, and then they put the flyer out there when the news is already out. So they say, I got big fight news, big fight news. Oh, no, I don't want to fight Gervonta Davis. I got something bigger that's coming up. I'm thinking about fighting Pacquiao. No, I got mental health issues. I'm going over here to the beach with my girl, and we're going to chill over there at the beach. You know, mental health is, I got to take care of my mental health. Oh, no, I want to come back to the sport now. Leonard Ellerby, make the fight. I always wanted to fight Gervonta Davis. Make the fight, Leonard. Make the fight. Come on, Ryan. Stop it, man. Stop it, bro. Hey, yeah, I saw Silver. I saw Silver and said he looked like something on Men in Black. I'm telling you, man, Silver, man, I'm telling you, from a whole different damn universe, unknown to us as average human species. I'm telling you, Silver's from a different planet, dog. No telling what he doing in them players behind the scene. Do we know for sure that the players that we believed is on the court are really the players and not clones? You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, dog. Come on. Is that really the players for real? How some of these players go out there and they'll drop 45 in a game, and then they come back a game later and they barely even score. They're like they don't even know how to play basketball. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just know Silver, man. He's from a whole different universe. He's not from here. When I seen him and they brought him into the NBA, I say, it's some shit gonna change, man. This dude don't look normal. He already has orders, and he's gonna abide by them orders. I think Silver. How tall is Silver? Silver like goddamn 8 foot, 12 and a half, ain't he? You know what I'm saying? That dude tall. Somebody need to goddamn, put some surveillance out there or something, and see if he actually live in this area or he going goddamn up to another place. AI. Really pound for pound in basketball. Boy was scoring more in the paint than Shaq at one point. I'm telling you, man, he played with the big boys. I seen him show up, and I used to go Saturdays when I was shooting hoop, and I never had the opportunity to play with him on the same court, but I was there because when him and pretty much the team came over there as boys from GT, they pretty much everybody was there to look at them play. You know what I'm saying? I even seen Lynn By's brother play on the basketball courts in Maryland. He used to be around there all the time. And people was kind of like asking him, was he ever going to be in the NBA and shit like that? I mean, it's unfortunate what happened to Lynn By's, but I don't know, man. I used to see them cats ball out outside all the time. AI played like a big man. He played like a big man. He was raw with it, man. He's one of my favorite players ever. One of my favorite players. I wish I would have got a picture with him all that time, but when AI came to the courts, man, he had like 30 motherfuckers with him. And back then, that time, if you had a certain camera, that shit, in order to have a recorder or something like that. I mean, you just didn't bring that to the court, man. Anyway, can't go back in time, man. But yeah, I didn't plan to stay on here too long, man. I just wanted to come talk about the lack of detail by Max Kellerman. And then, with that being said, the false message that he's sending out to the audience, the mixed martial arts, fan bases out there. And then, of course, it's nothing wrong with dropping boxing topics in here. I like that, interaction with the live chat and everything. But the one important note before I get up out of here is the fact that how long are you all going to remain faithful to a mistress like boxing? You know what I'm saying? It's a dysfunctional relationship. You can't continue to support 100% of boxing and feel good, invigorated, only to get hit in the head all the time, after you've been bamboozled, so to speak, and say, hey, well, I thought this fight was happening, but it's not happening now. I thought this fight would happen. Y'all put it out in the media, but it's not happening no more. Oh, I seen this fight. I just can't wait. Okay, the fight's playing out the way I thought, and then so-and-so get robbed. I'm no way, shape, or form trying to advocate to stop supporting boxing. But if YouTube is to make a statement, the community out here that report on boxing and everything, two sides to it. Either you don't care and you continue to worry about super chats and everything and get your audience and fan base up, or on the other side, you can do something about it. And you don't have to do it every week. It just, if the message is out there and you put your thumbnail up all the way to the third day as if you're going to do a live, the message is going to be out there. Your audience is going to see. They're going to miss you. They're going to be like, damn, I can't wait till Money Brown get on here. I can't wait till Blue get on here. I can't wait till Drew get on here. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait till BFT get on here. Kano Loco. Where are these guys? Supreme Beast Boxing. Can't wait to 78 get on here. All these people are not on here. Why? Oh, it's a protest going on. Everything boxing and sports. You know what I'm saying? When they are looking for these platforms to jump on here and talk, cover whatever topic they're covering, and the audience, their fan base don't see it. They're gonna look at the thumbnail and they're gonna be like, oh shit, they're in protest. It's gonna be bigger than what you think. It's going to be bigger than what you think, man, because those of you that have those huge fan bases, your people are eager, anticipating you to come on and talk that boxing Monday through Friday. They waiting. That's all I'm going to say on that, man. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate you for pulling up as always, y'all. Continue to support the channel. You know what I'm saying? Continue to come in the building and, hit that like button and share the content. That's all I can tell you. I can't force you to do nothing. We grown ass people, but I appreciate you pulling up today on a Sunday, man. Y'all continue to hold it down. Turn up and tune in to World Combat Sports.
Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a past the doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'm